Welcome everyone to another video by Cheeky Games. In this video I will cover the Chronicle part of Vampire the Masquerade Heritage. I will tell you everything you have to know about playing a Chronicle game. But do note that I assume you know the gameplay rules of a normal session and I will build on that. If you don't, check out the video I made on that, there's a link in the description down below. This video will consist of various parts, specifically the following: general intro, player setup, game aftermath, era aftermath. I've added timestamps in the description down below so you can skip to the parts you are interested in. So, what does a Chronicle game look like? As with most legacy games, it consists of playing the game in different forms multiple times to reach a big conclusion. With Heritage, the sessions are put in groups of 3 called an era. At the end of an era, there's a smaller result that works towards that promised big conclusion. Effectively, someone wins that era and gets to make some significant choices that will influence the way points will be counted at the end of the very last session. After 7 eras, we reach the end and get to see who the best vampire was, making the full game last 21 sessions total. Well, let's dive in. Before starting their first Chronicle game, every player has to do 3 things to set up their persona they will be playing with. First, you fill in your character sheet. You fill in your name, Samuel in my case, and the title, which is just a made up flavor thing for you. I went with The Silence of Londinium. Then you get to put 1 point in a discipline, which are the top ones up here. I picked Obfuscate. And lastly, you pick 1 point in one of the top 3 left traits. That means these here. I picked Detachment because Samuel sounds like a detached fella. At this point, everything you filled in is mostly flavor. If you are into the tactical side of things, then you can pick your discipline and traits based on the sticker sheets. At certain points in the game, you will be allowed to place a sticker on an Ancilla. That's a flipped character from the deck over here, right? The Ancilla still must have a space for a sticker though. They only have 3, of which 1 is already printed at the start. Every trait has their own unique stickers to give, and you can only use stickers of the traits you possess, and only up to how many dots you have. So right now I have 1 dot in Detachment and 1 in Obfuscate, which means I can only use the first sticker of Detachment over here. You see the numbers are right there. And the same goes for Obfuscate. They're numbered, so easy to see which you can choose and which you can't. So you can check that out to base your decision on. In this video, I didn't. Secondly, you write your name on one of the folders. This one is mine. I wrote Cheeky. This will be my haven and will contain all of the game pieces that I collect. Everything in your folder cannot be used by other players. It can contain various different cards that will pop up during the rest of this video. Speaking of cards that go into a haven, we get to the third thing players do to prepare. You draw 3 random cards from the character deck and pick one of those 3. For me, I will pick this one. That card will be your first retainer. You get to elevate it, which means you flip it to the other side. I'm not going to do that here to prevent spoilers. When you do flip a vampire, you get to choose the clan they are from. This is always true, whether it is now or later in the game. You can also choose to give a vampire this half moon sticker instead of one of the clans. If you do so, it belongs to no clan. So, what is the effect of the sticker? Let me quickly grab the recruitment cube. Right. Remember, when a character is in the left 2 spaces, you would have to pay power to recruit them? Well, that is not true for a player that is trying to recruit a vampire that is of the same clan as that player is currently playing. In that case, that player pays no power. If you pick to give the newly elevated vampire no clan affiliation, this perk will never happen, and it will always cost power when it is in the first and second space in the recruitment queue on the left. After flipping and picking their clan, the new Ancilla, as it is called, goes into your haven. During a session, instead of recruiting from the queue as normal, you can also recruit from your haven, but only once, as it is only has 1 vampire in it. This is instead of your normal recruitment, not on top of your normal recruitment. Funny thing here is that at this point you actually do not know yet which clan you are going to play. Every game you pick a clan, and that clan could be the same or could be a different one every time. I'll explain a bit more about that in the game setup, which we will actually get to now. So the game setup is almost the same as in a normal game. In this video I will focus on the differences. There are only a couple. 1. The player who got last place last game gets to grab the player 1 Ankh and start. The very first game you have no previous game and the oldest player starts as player 1. 2. Then, the player who got last place last game also gets to pick their clan first. You do this for all players going from last to first, meaning that if at your table a certain clan is performing really well, chances are that it will be picked by whoever came in last previous game. And as you only pick your clan here, during making of your first retainer, you actually didn't know what you were going to play yet, which I think is a fun little mechanic. For the very first game, the youngest player picks first, working your way up. 3. Instead of using the basic missions, you use the missions from the Chronicle deck, which is this deck over here. This deck is supposed to be used in order, so no peeking ahead and no going from the other side. To be sure you will not use the wrong order or end, it clearly says at this end not to start here, and on this end you get the cards for the next session. It will always start with what I like to call a game session overview card. On the front side, it'll have a nice flavorful quote. This one has "Into the Eternal Darkness, Into the Fire and Ice" by Dante Alighieri. I probably pronounced that wrong. My Italian could use some work. On the other side is some info for at the end of the session, which I'll get back to, and an intro to the game. This one reads, "The Knights Hospitaller aim to conquer Rhodes and carve out a kingdom of their own." This card is followed by 5 missions. Those missions we're going to place over here. Like normally the basic missions are over here, now these cards go there. As with the normal missions, these are won by having the most of a certain attribute, and they are marked on the card as you can see. Remember, your clan leader counts twice if you ever end up in a tie for any of these missions. Every mission has a bit of text to give you a hint what it is about, but do not turn them around until the game is over. After the missions, there will be some other cards in the Chronicle deck, like characters and clan leaders. Don't look at these yet. They can either be earned in this game or should be added to the character queue for the next game. Don't forget to sleeve them without looking at the backside when you do. 4. The last thing you do before starting is you have to grab all the obligation cards in your haven and carry out the text on them. Don't panic if this is your first game, you do not have any yet and you don't have to do anything. I'll explain a bit more about them in the game aftermath bit of the video that is actually up next. So, with those 4 steps done, you have set up your game and will play a session to its completion, obviously. This is a great spot to pause and just play your game. Once it is done, you can continue with the next part. But if you are the kind of person that wants to know every in and out first, though, feel free to continue with this video. If not, don't worry, I'll be here. Press pause and continue after you finish the game. After the game session is completed, you count your points as normal, ignoring the missions as they do not give points in the Chronicle game. You then grab the Chronicle booklet and write down the results of that game. As is so normal for this game, there is a lot of flavor hidden in this booklet as well. I'm not going to read it right now, but it has a nice intro to the Chronicle in general and to every era. Just have a look. But let's get back to doing the game aftermath. For every game, there's a little score sheet where you write down how everyone did. In the first game, that will be Rhodes, right over here. This is where you write the winner, second place, third and fourth place, if you had a third and fourth player in your game. Right next to it, you see the points for this era that every player won in this game. And over here, you write down the clan everyone used. Then, the winner of the session, or victor, writes down the title that was on the game session overview card. I'll pop it up on the screen. For the first mission, that would be Grand Hospitaller. The person that ended up last does the lower text on the card, which is plot 1. This means that the player who was last will choose one clan scheme from this box of currently not in play schemes and adds it to the clan box that they were playing. You have to pick a scheme of the plan you are currently playing. Once it is added to that clan box, it is forever unlocked and everyone who plays that clan will have access to it in the games moving forward. After that, you flip the missions you won. Remember, you win them by having most of the displayed attribute in your bloodline. Due to spoilers, I'm not actually going to flip any, but I'll outline what they do. Every mission does 2 things for the player that won it. It gives you a choice between 2 traits chosen from the traits that are visible on your character sheet. For example, it could be between Detachment and Mercy. Whichever you pick, you gain a dot in that trait. If you remember Samael, the character I was making from earlier, I could pick Detachment and now have 2 dots in that. Or I could pick Mercy and have 1 in Detachment and 1 in Mercy. The second thing every mission does is give you a perk. There are 4 things it can give to you. 1. A new clan leader. 2. A powerful Ancilla vampire. 3. An asset. Or 4. The ability to elevate a vampire that is in your bloodline right now at the end of the game. The assets and clan leaders go straight to that player's haven. Only they can play those. And to play a clan leader, you will have to play that clan next time. If one of the 3 schemes that clan leader would start with is not yet in the deck, you now also add that permanently to that clan's box. Even if you are not the one playing that clan, they are now part of that clan scheme's deck. But the clan leader is only yours, and no other player can ever use that clan leader. Any elevated vampires and or any earned Chronicle vampire characters do not go straight into your haven, because you're only allowed 1 retainer in there. That choice comes a bit later. After resolving the missions, the winner takes a random obligation for the next game. That is the winner of the entire game. And everyone else loses a random obligation. You can have several obligations if you win several times in a row. Then, each player may place a sticker ability on any vampire in their bloodline or one they just earned through a mission. Remember that you can only pick stickers that you have enough ranks for in that trait. The sticker can only be used once, so it is possible that you have no sticker to choose from. Only an Ancilla or flipped vampire can have stickers, and only for as long as it has place for a sticker. Last step of the game aftermath is choosing which vampire to take into your haven. Remember, it can only be 1. You can pick from all the vampires in your bloodline and all the Chronicle vampires you unlocked for resolving your missions. After you have played 3 sessions, you come to the end of an era. All of those games are played in a similar fashion as explained earlier, but an interesting thing happens at the end of that 3rd game. We again turn to the Chronicle booklet, and in the second column over here we see points. For every player we add those points to see who has won the era, with whoever won the battleground that will be changed after this game as the tiebreaker. In the case of the first era, that would be of clans high and low, which is written on the right page at the bottom over here. At the end of an era, in the Chronicle deck, are scoring cards. These scoring cards have traits on them equal to those on every player's sheet. The winner chooses 1 of those cards and then flips to the back of the Chronicle booklet, which is over here. For example, if that scoring card would have Detachment and Warfare, then we add a dot to Detachment and Warfare over here. Every scoring card will have a set of traits on them, so you do not have complete freedom to update the Chronicle scoring card. Instead, you have to pick whichever scoring card of that era worked best for you. So why does this matter? Well, up to this point your character sheet had no actual value, but now the first step has been made on how those character sheets are going to be scored. The Chronicle scoring card tells you how many points a trait will be worth at the end of the game. Every time you play a session, winning is good because it can lead to winning the era, and that is good because you can choose which traits are important at the end. But at the very end of the game, the person that wins the game is the person that scores the most points on their character sheet using the Chronicle scoring card that you have built together during the course of the game. All other points have only led up to this moment. It is your sheet that will determine who will be the final winner of this Chronicle. For example, if at the end of the Chronicle, Detachment has 2 dots in the Chronicle scoring card, then every dot of Detachment that is on your sheet is worth 2 points. In the case of Samael, who was already at 2 in my example, if he didn't go up any further during the Chronicle, he would get 2 points for both dots, for a total of 4 points. And you do this for every trait. Then you see these over here saying that every title is 1 point, as is every discipline. Then the points for factions can either be positive or negative. Well, you add it all up, and it's all written down here, so it really does speak for itself. I don't think I will need to explain it any further. And that is it. These are the rules for playing a Chronicle game. I hope you found this video clarifying, and if you found any rule goofs or have a comment or a question, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.